areas of interest are the basic skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. I'm trained as a historian, so I'm always very interested in studying the past and learning the lessons we can from the past and projecting into the future, which means I'm also very much of, I would guess, a futurist, and constantly try to bring that into my classes. My research has been driven primarily by my clients, and my biggest client by far was the U.S. government, for which I did a huge amount of research for several years. I was assigned to work with one of the men who broke the Nancy Luftwaffe Code in World War II, who was a code breaker from Bletchley Park in England, who was a mathematician. Brilliant man. We became very close associates and very good friends. And we were working on the Cold War primarily, which I could then use, when I was able to use it in as teaching information and cases in classrooms. And I heavily focus my research on future projections, but I try to cull them down to the ones that I think will be of specific importance to whatever class I'm teaching at that time. For example, I might take 33 predictions from the Futurist magazine and then have all of my students from whatever their major is focus on it. How will that impact their field or their professional future? Well, as a matter of policy, I've always, with every client that I work with over the years, and that has been quite a number, I always ask them if I could bring my students with me to any of the work that was not privileged or classified. And in many cases, they said yes. But I set up a lot of internships with companies like MITRE, and eventually many of them became employees and worked there. So it turned out to be a really good connection. Currently, I am teaching conflict and conflict resolution, negotiation. I'm teaching what I call a very generic humanistic management course, which goes into 8 ways to ask a question, different organizational ideologies, and how is the communication changed when you work in this organization versus that organization. I'm teaching an organizational communication class on the graduate level. One of the things that drew me to Emerson in the first place when I was looking at graduate schools was Charles Wesley Emerson's philosophy, the evolution of expression, which I think was amazingly good description of systems thinking back in 1880. And I thought, man, this individual was way ahead of himself, way ahead of the world at the time. And I think, again, in education, we need to focus much more on how do you think of the big picture and consequences, but act on a more analog level. You can't act on the big systems level. It's just too big. So you have to decide, what can I do that I can really handle myself and make a contribution of whatever it is, but keeping the big picture in mind. That's not easy. Big challenge.